Insights from Margaret Barker's Temple Themes in Christian Worship. This is a continuation of my last video, Jesus, Yahweh, and the Temple, and continues my analysis of this great work by Margaret Barker. It is quite clear that humans could represent God on earth and even were worthy of some sort of worship or reverence as if they were God, representing Him. But how could Jesus represent God if He was God? And why do we have Christians making statements to the effect that no one had seen the Father, John 6:46, and that the Jews had never heard the Father's voice nor seen His form, John 5:37? According to Barker, John was emphatic that the one who appeared in the Old Testament was not God the Father, but Jesus, before His incarnation. Barker then launches into a wonderful discussion of what she calls the Benitarian nature of early Christian worship, referring to the fact that Christians worship both Jesus, or Yahweh, and the Father, or God Most High. The root of this worship is the understanding that in the Old Testament times, both deities were worshipped. This is the way in which the Christians read the Old Testament, as a record of God Most High and His Son Yahweh. She cites Philo, a Jewish contemporary of Jesus, as he expounded on Genesis 31:13. For just as those who are unable to see the sun itself see the gleam of the parhelion and take it for the sun, and take the halo round the moon for that luminary itself, so some regard the image of God, the angel His logos, as His very self. Philo was correcting some who had mistakenly identified the logos as God Most High. For Philo, the logos could be called God, but was the second God. Barker explains how our current version of Deuteronomy 32:8 has been altered in a way that no longer reflects the original belief concerning the sons of God. Our current version tells of how God Most High divided up the nations according to the number of the children or sons of Israel. According to a Hebrew text found among the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran, the nations were divided up according to the sons of Elohim. This agrees more fully with the Greek Old Testament, or the Septuagint version, which has the angels of God. Barker notes, when God Most High assigned the nations to the sons of God, He gave Jacob into the care of Yahweh. This implies that Yahweh was the son of God Most High. Eusebius, a Christian historian writing in the 4th century, understood this verse in the same way. In these words, Moses names first God Most High, the supreme God of the universe, and then as Lord His Word, whom we call Lord in the second degree after the God of the universe. In Clementine Recognitions 2:42, Peter explains the role of the sons of God. For every nation has an angel, to whom God has committed the government of that nation. And when one of these appears, although he be thought and called God by those over whom he presides, yet being asked, he does not give such a testimony to himself. For the Most High God, who alone holds the power of all things, has divided the nations of the earth into 72 parts, and over these He has appointed angels as princes. But to the one among the archangels who is the greatest was committed the government of those who, before all others, received the worship and knowledge of the Most High. Christ was seen as the greatest of the angels, who was given Israel as His jurisdiction by God. This angel was known as both Yahweh and the angel of Yahweh in the Old Testament. This is the being who had appeared to the patriarchs and prophets of ancient Israel. Justin Martyr explained that neither Abraham, nor Isaac, nor Jacob, nor any other man ever saw the Father, an ineffable Lord of all things and of Christ Himself. but they saw him who according to his will is both God his Son and his angel from ministering to his will. Origen knew that Christ, the Son, was not simply an angel, but the angel of great counsel. This was no Christian innovation. The Jews also knew this figure, and according to Eusebius, knew that the angel of great counsel was the Messiah. In Isaiah 9:6, where the promised child is called in the Hebrew, Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace, the Greek version simply calls him the Angel of Great Counsel. Barker notes, there is no doubt that Jesus was recognized and proclaimed as Yahweh, the Lord, the Son of God Most High. According to Eusebius, the Hebrews had believed that the angel of great counsel was the Messiah. The difference between the Jews and the Christians was that the Jews did not accept that Jesus had been the Messiah, that the angel had already come. This implies that the belief in the second person was not unique to Christians. The problem was the identity of the second person. This understanding was prevalent in early Christianity, and Barker gives many more examples of how Christ was seen as the God of the Old Testament, but separate and subordinate to the Most High God, his Father. Again, she goes into great depth on this topic in her earlier book, The Great Angel, A Study of Israel's Second God. I highly encourage you to take a look at that book. Thank you.